The Bible is a very big book, and it was written over the course of 1,000 years. So what part do you want me to concentrate on? That's the centerpiece of it all, and mercifully we are very, very well supplied with evidence about this. In the sort of popular imagination, people think that the story of Jesus was written up thousands of years later and it's full of myths and Gnostic Gospels and Dan Brown and all this sort of stuff. Forget it. Jesus Christ operated his public ministry between 27 and 30 of our era. That is dated by Luke with 6 parallel dating references, and particularly with the Roman Emperor Tiberius. So it starts in 27 and Jesus was executed almost certainly in 30 AD. Now, the material was written 20 years, 30 years and 40 years afterwards. But what was happening in the meantime is that this new movement was spreading the faith of Jesus everywhere, all the main cities of the empire within the first 30 years or so. And what you've got in the Gospels is the preached word about this person, but as people began to die, they said, we've got to get this written down. And you see, in our day, we think that something written is more important than something spoken. Not in the ancient world. They liked the living and abiding voice, as one of them put it. They liked that better than the written stuff. So when it came to actually writing in the 50s and 60s and 70s, this was valuable. They loved it, but they preferred somebody who'd actually been there. So we're actually, through these Gospels, we're brought into contact with what was happening, and you can imagine these people preaching in the marketplace like we are at the moment. That's what they liked, and that's what we've got in these Gospels. I think you can rule that out completely. I'll tell you why. Not only was the gap between Jesus' happenings and the first writings down, it's only 20 years or so, and lots of people were alive then. I can remember the Second World War. I can remember the speeches of Churchill to encourage the Free French and the British when they thought that the Germans were going to overrun. I can still remember those, and that was much more than 20 years ago. And so if they had been telling mythological stories, there would have been plenty of people who say, oh, it never happened like that at all, absolute rubbish. So you've got the control of many people who were engaged in that situation and were still alive when the writing of the Gospel of Mark came out, probably in the late 50s or early 60s. The other thing is that we have got manuscripts, Greek manuscripts, about 5,000 of them, from the early days, and that didn't happen with any other ancient document. So most of these people, like Apollonius of Tyana and so on, there's only one or two manuscripts about it. Here we've got manuscripts in Armenian and Georgian and Gothic and all these languages, Latin and Greek and so on, and they all tell the same story about Jesus with tiny verbal differences. So there's no room for a mythological element to come in. It is too close to the event, and it is too widely attested.